we're in the stage now where the elites are getting what's coming to them, I guess. And I don't wish murder on anybody. I do believe in justice. And I want justice for this little girl. If she's telling the truth, I want justice for her. Um, Even if that means tearing down some of these artists that we've looked up to for so many years, it's fine. You know, I could say that. I'm okay with that. But this is a day and age where the elite who felt like they can get away with anything, now they got to look over their shoulder because, now these people could be on list. They get, court cases could be pending. We don't, bro, like after, I mean, when Michael Jackson had that thing happen to him when he was alive, it was like, that's crazy. But it wasn't like far-fetched because Michael was Michael. And everyone had this kind of weird feeling about Michael. But then when it started happening, like Bill Cosby's name was mentioned in the stuff. And then Weinstein, we knew Weinstein was no good. But all these different people who names start showing up as, like, I remember when Kevin Spacey's name came up, I was like, Kevin Spacey? Really? And it's just all these men and all these gross people who have taken advantage of so many people. And now with Brian Thompson and the COOs are being mentioned and stuff. This is just a very out of control time that we're living in right now. And nothing in the dark, nothing hidden in the dark, nothing is hidden in the dark. Everything's going to come out. Everything's going to come out. How you lived your life is going to show up. If you screwed somebody over, they're going to come out and say something. Like, you just got to be ready for it. This is why it's important to be decent human beings. And listen, I love Jesus. I'm a strong believer in Jesus. I'm saved. I've given my life to Jesus. I know where my life is going to end up. I know where I'm going to spend eternity. I have some things in my life where I know I'm not a decent human being. Hence why I need Jesus. And there's things where, I got to deal with stuff heads on because I've lived a life for myself, and who hasn't, right? To some degree, who hasn't lived a life for himself? And I'm not trying to, thank God I'm nowhere. Listen, before I get any further, I'm nowhere near these other cats. I'm nowhere near the kind of stuff that these other aforementioned people have been involved in. So there's nothing to get sued over. And there's no jail time pending for me because I didn't do anything. However, I've done some very selfish things in my personal life. I've done some things where it's very clear and obvious. I thought about one person and one person alone, that was me. And so what you've done, God forgives. Yeah, but people don't. People don't forget that junk. I always tell people, God will forgive you. I believe that wholeheartedly, that God forgives. But some people don't. Some people remember. That's why it's very important that you always got to do right by people. Because, this relationship is going to be strong because it has nothing to do with us developing this relationship with God. This relationship is going to stay strong, not because of me, but because of him. Right? Because of what Jesus done. My relationship with people, that's going to suffer. And it has. I've had relationships with people that have fallen apart because of my selfishness. I've left people because of their selfishness. That's just the way it works. You can't say, well, you and I gotta work this thing out because Jesus forgive me. Look, Jesus can forgive you, and Jesus does forgive you. But now you're a jerk still because you went out on your family, or you cheated on your taxes. Now you got to deal with the IRS. Being forgiven does not change the fact that you still got to deal with your sin. Right? And a lot of these celebrities who don't even have a relation with Jesus, it's crazy that not even their money or their strong presence in the media or their accolades or things that they've done right with their philanthropy, their star power can't get them out of the situations that they've made because they felt like they were untouchable. That's at the end of the day, that's what you need to understand, that every person is going to have their day where the spotlight shows up on them. And I'm talking about in this world. I'm not even talking about eternity. Eternity, man, they got to deal with the fact that if these people have done half the things that we've heard people say that they've done, when they meet the Father, they got to deal with that on a whole nother level, especially if they don't have forgiveness in their heart. Unfortunately, the CEO of United Healthcare, he had to go into eternity last week, and we don't know where his heart was. We don't know if was he taking advantage of the people. My heart hopes that he repented. My heart hopes for people to repent. But this is the world we live in. When you live that kind of lifestyle, when it's selfishness, it's, you go into eternity and you got to deal with whatever you paid the price for. And let me just say this. I feel like I want to know, and I know there's few, maybe Warren Buffett, maybe a couple others here and there. I want to read more about people who have honestly made their wealth in an honest way, above reproach, without going and doing something dastardly or doing something villainous or evil or irreparable. I would love to see if there's people out there who have done good with their money, good with their abilities, and made their money without stepping on people's backs and not cutting people's throats. Because if that's the case, then this is another sign of this is why it's important that we take care of ourselves. I thought about this long and hard, and I don't have any kind of resources like this. But man, what if somebody who's living in our country was like, you know what? I'm going to make a healthcare system for everybody. Maybe shared costs. And I know, there's some Christian ones that have tried MediShare and something like that. And if, hit me up if you know that they're, I don't know how well they work. I don't know how well they work, but can you imagine a healthcare system ran by the people, protected by the people? Like, can you imagine a country where the people ran the country? We live in a delusion where it makes us think that we are part of it. Like, we're picking our government and the government works for us and all this stuff is for us. But we know, you and I both know that it's not, that it's just a game. It's just a facade that they put on to let us think that we have a fight in this, but there's people behind the scenes. And even now, as I'm thinking about, like, if we had our own healthcare that was by the people, for the people, owned by the people, we already know the government is not going to allow that, because there's no way they're going to have us make a system that takes money out of the pockets of the healthcare system that's screwing us over. It's almost like you have to be rich to take care of yourself, to get good health care. And then you see what the rich people do with their money. They're just horrible people. It's just scary. So it's like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't, kind of. But this is just a sad place to be. This country is a sad place to be. If my homie Charlie was here, he'd be a little bit more positive. He shed a positive light on it. And normally my podcasts are pretty funny, but today it's just, I'm just in a sad place, because here's a scenario where another human being lost their life Um, was the human being corrupt? I don't have a lot of evidence to say either way, but according to the manifesto, which comes off very sincere, and with my own experiences with healthcare and with your experiences with healthcare, we can all clearly say, yeah, he's not lying. What he feels is what millions of people actually feel. So yeah, we get it. We get it. But it's just a bad place.